Welcome to the latest episode of Bull Banter, the podcast where two brothers talk about the Macarthur Bulls, the A-League, and all things football. I'm Blake Sims, and I'm joined by my brother Daniel. How are you today, Dean?
Yeah, not doing too bad. Great, week to be a football fan with the Euros going on and everything. And the Bulls, they did it. I still can't believe that they won, but here we are.
Yeah, a bit of a disbelief in your voice, mate. I'm still buzzing from the weekend, mate. Like, that was an amazing away day. The happiest I've felt in a stadium probably since, I can't even remember, maybe the qualifier that we had for the World Cup, Australia versus Syria, where we went into extra time. But, on a personal note, that's so far different to what we experienced on the weekend. The Bulls getting the win in the semis in their first season. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't able to attend the game, unfortunately, because I had my own. But we looked very lively, like the fan support and everything. I saw the video of us marching through the bullpen in the little street there outside the stadium and making all sorts of havoc and noise. So it's great to see.
It was something like you'd see in a European match day, and it's a nice little venue there in Gosford. You got the Leagues Club just across the road. You got the stadium. It feels like a little sort of cauldron, that alley where you walk in. Yeah, really amazing. They've only got the one gate, so all the fans got to filter through, and you can make your voice heard. And yeah, we certainly did. It was nice to have the active support be on the camera side for once, so you actually got to see what we're like, and it was very lively. Obviously, outsung by Mariners fans, and of course you would, because their first final in 7 years, they'd be really raucous and loud. But we certainly showed the league that we're not there just to wait to ring a cowbell. We're there to really actively support, and a massive contingent travelled up on the weekend. So fair play to everyone who went up, and it was just amazing scenes. It was a very tense game. We came out and we did really well to start with. That first half was amazing. Second half, they had a bit more grit. They shut down our passing lanes and everything. And then, what happened in extra time was just, it left me speechless, mate. Like, you could do nothing but roar, no words.
Yeah, I suppose we should get into the game. And obviously, since you were there, you can tell us what it was like in the stadium. But, as it got later on into the affair, like, you can just feel it coming through the telly where, it's just like gut-wrenching stuff, especially when we're a man down. But,
yeah, pre-match, like, as I said, it's just packed to the rafters with people in that little side street to let you get into the stadium. And you could just tell it was going to be a special night regardless of the result. So many people waiting to get into the stadium. The Leagues Club across the road had like a half an hour wait just to sign in. So, like, there's people hanging off of the telephone poles and all that alongside the car park, and people wandering around everywhere. Big atmosphere. On your way in, you had the Mariners band, who, fair play to them, they do a great job at creating atmosphere when people won't sing. So amazing stuff. And then we had our own contingent come in there. You go into the away section, and you're feeling this kind of nervous anticipation, and it was we weren't sure how we were going to go in our very first final, but we had an early chance. Matt Derbyshire, first few minutes, does this amazing chest down and then flick with the outside of his foot, and you're just thinking, like, oh, is this real? Like, is this actually happening? Amazing stuff. It would have been a belter of a goal if he was onside, but he was ruled off. And then after that, we're thinking, oh shit, we're actually a good chance here. Like, there was a lot of tension leading into the game, thinking, oh, I don't know how we're going to go. Maybe you're thinking, oh, the Mariners have a bit more to lose, and so maybe the pressure's on them. But things were nervy until that chance happened, and then we're thinking, oh, here we go. We're in finals football, and we can play and we can win.
Yeah, we look really fresh, and I think giving Derbyshire that week off after carrying us for all season, he came out firing and really energetic. And as you said, very unluckily, the goal didn't go his way, but absolute class from him.
Yeah.
And, maybe it was just, going into the game, we're seen as the underdogs, and with all the media and stuff saying, and opposing fans as well saying we don't belong in the finals or the top six, and come this weekend against City, we're going to be the underdogs again. So I think that's a good, something for us to ride on in games, especially. But yeah, great start, great first half from us, especially compared to last week at when we had Wellington at home.
Yeah, big
Completely different
turnaround. But you
sides.
expected it, didn't you? I mean, we kind of played the kids against Wellington, whereas here it was everything's on the line. Throw everything in the kitchen sink at them, and
Yeah,
we had our top side out there. But yeah, it was good to see us dictate play and actually create chances. We had that early free kick where Benyat put it on Meredith's head, and Birigidi had to plunge right down to save it. Live, it just looked like a regular save from our angle, but then when we saw the replays, we're thinking, oh, this actually might get called back for VAR. It was so close to going over the line, and somehow he's kept it out.
Yeah, he got his claws onto that one somehow and just ripped it back in. But yeah. we were getting a lot of those free kicks in good areas with Benyat on the pitch as well. You're always going to expect a good delivery. So, and finals football, it's those 50-50 challenges, those set piece moments where I think I can see us making a real difference.
Yeah,
we're not one-on-one. There's obviously more talented players out there than some of the lads we have in the outside, but there's set piece moments, like anything can happen. We've got heaps of bodies in there that can tower over people. So
yeah, we're surprisingly resolute in defense with our set pieces. I feel like because our game plan's so much of hook it into the box, our defenders are just used to defending against that, and they've got that dialed. It'd be nice if we could get on the end of a few more free kicks, but it's a bit of a put it in the mixer and see what happens. I guess we're playing the percentages. If we just get enough balls in the box, we get goals. But it was really good to, after those first couple chances early on, to see us really settle into the game. We looked confident in possession. I mean, it is finals, and that we have, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh, Mariners have beat us, 3 times in the season. They've played counter-attacking football against us. So despite how comfortable we look, there's always that opportunity that they have to take it off us. But we really looked calm. Mariners didn't create anything in the first half from my memory. Like, Fedders wasn't called into action, a couple goal kicks, that's it.
Yeah.
So we really just denied them the territory. They never really made an intrusion into our box, and it was calm, but was lacking that cutting edge. And so we're thinking, okay, long time to go. We're going to wear him down. First half whistle blows, and then Stajic sends him out, completely different side. Not in terms of the hunger, like obviously they're all up for it. It's finals, right? But in terms of the formation, he shut down our passing lanes. I don't know exactly what he changed, but maybe he just, helped the guys on the pitch see it a bit differently, because we used to be able to get in that first half, Jake McGing on the ball on the right and Meredith on the left, and work it forward to Orr and Mamboa pretty easy. But second half, it was, much more passing backwards, much more static play, much more recycling around our back line. And Mariners were able to sort of press and generate some opportunities, maybe not opportunities, but definitely some pressure. So we had to be a bit more scrappy.
Yeah, definitely. And it took us to the 70th minute or something for us to really, get back into the game and sort of establish ourselves in the game and move the ball around like we're used to. And as you said, with the adjustment they made at halftime coming into the second half, like we saw in the first half, we were going for the long ball more often than not, and it was working for us, catching Central Coast out. And whether or not they just adapted to it and forced us to turn it around at the back and start again, or we're just marking our longer options a bit more, paying a bit more attention to the likes of Charles, it sort of just kept us in our defensive third. So, and then obviously Central Coast just sort of built up that momentum slowly, and we're looking a much better side for majority of that second half.
Yeah, they were just able to shut down our passing lanes and then sort of work on our mistakes. They weren't necessarily putting together dangerous plays. They were just sort of pouncing on it when it went astray in our midfield. But then we have to talk about it. Daniel Bowman goes through, ball gets placed through for him, and it's deflected off Meredith. By the laws of the game, if it's deliberately played at, then that ends up being play on. But for a couple of things, first of all, would you say if that ball went to Federici off Meredith, would you say that he deliberately played at it, and then would Federici be able to pick it up? Probably not. Would you say that Meredith was in possession of the ball and then gave it away? Probably not.
Definitely not, no.
Right? It's a reaction.
But, yeah.
It's deflection. Okay?
It's
not, he never had control. He never directed it that way. You could say because of the distance, it was probably like a good 5 yards, even though that's a stinging pass, right? It's not like it's a tackle and it's just bounced off him. But it's one of those ones that really could have gone either way in terms of the way it was refereed. It's a grey area, I think, of the game.
Yeah.
But it did go our way. We had the advantage in that being chalked off.
In terms of where the game's at, where it's 0-0 and, second half time sort of cutting it close, you don't want to give a goal like that unless it's a glaringly obvious, like played at it. So I think the ref might have just given us the benefit of the doubt there. But if you've been watching much of the Euros, Lukaku's first goal, I think, in the Belgium game, a similar thing happened. He's offside, and then the defenders just made like a mockery of it and sort of like, pinballed it between his own legs, and it's just fallen perfectly for Lukaku. Which for that one, I think he's got that compared to Meredith. Meredith's got no time to react at all to it.
Yeah.
Like it's coming right at him, and he does get a little touch onto it, which flicks it on. But I mean, comparing it to the Belgium goal, the defender's watching it for like 5 seconds in the air, has all the time in the world to decide what he's going to do, and then unfortunately fucks it up. But it's I think that really like kicked us into gear as well, sort of like
woke us up.
Yeah, woke us up definitely, and kick-started us. But then, the inevitable thing comes where another sort of touchy one here with the red card challenge from Meredith on Urania. It was.
It's a bit of a brain fade, wasn't it?
Card. Yeah,
like he's not clear through on goal. Like it's not a definite 1v1 like professional foul. Just get rid of him so he can't have the shot. It looked more of a tangle to me, especially because Susnia engaged in the sort of tackle anyway. But in saying that, he could have avoided him if he wanted to. So I have to cop that red card. I think that's legitimate. There's a few arguments going around about, it bounced up off Meredith and then into the hand of Urania. So maybe that's a handball and it doesn't actually count.
Yeah, I don't.
If he had gone on to score, interestingly enough, it wouldn't have counted, right? Because of the handball. But because of Meredith taking him down in the heat of the moment, goal scoring opportunity, red card. So I'm happy to cop that. And then I think it helped us. And just before we move on, like Meredith, despite his red card, had an amazing game. Like often it was being hoofed forward to Matt Simon on the right-hand side, or Urania was dropping off on the left-hand side of our defense. And we didn't let Urania get that much room when he was over Meredith's side. Meredith was just hounding in there, first to the ball, keeping it back in our midfield and just doing amazing stuff. Him and Anthony Martis had an amazing game, right, defensively, just cleaning everything up, recycling possession, keeping us in the right territory. But yeah, brain fade from Meredith. He misses out on this week's game against Melbourne, but
that's a pretty big miss.
To be said, he had a good game before that.
That's a big loss because he was playing in that left centre back role, and obviously, ideally, you want a left footer in that left centre back, and then the only probably replacement we have is either a Liam Rose, but he's right footed. Franjic maybe, but he's more attacking.
Yeah, otherwise we've got
but the last option is Golek, but I don't know if you start him in that game.
Nah, not with the pace of Naboo or Craig Noon. He'll
No.
just get ripped to shreds like he did earlier in the year against Melbourne at Amy Park. So, bit of a tough decision to make there. But going back to the game, following that red card, it actually really helped us. So, even though we worked our way back into the game, we were starting to get our passing game together. It just forced us to be way more direct. Like, we got into our bank of 10, had Russ and Derbyshire first, and then Russ in extra time, just being up the top as an outlet, and then just springing these counterattacks forward. And we showed Central Coast that we can do it just as well as they can. Like, anytime we went forward, big ups to Charles and Barbara. Like, he was just massive energy the whole match. Was up and back, making these lung-bursting runs forward. Societo worked his ass off. The whole team, just amazing effort, right? But in terms of the structure of how we played, we weren't as careful anymore. We were like, okay, if we're going forward, we're really going to try and score a goal. It's not just to work the ball forward and try and keep possession, because we felt pretty comfortable sitting in that block of 10, right? So, it worked well for us, even though sitting in the stadium is the most nervy 15 minutes. We're like, just get to 90, just get to 90. We can get some subs. We can change things around. Ante can have a chat with them and get them through, right? But, terrifying the last 15 minutes, especially when they bring in Quol on.
Yeah. He, I can't remember if it was extra time or not, but there was a few 90th minute, nail biters where if the ball had fallen differently, it's in the back of the net for Mariners. So I think just fighting to get to extra time was a massive effort. And then obviously how we played in extra time as well. Just mate, hats off, I got to say.
Yeah, perfect style of performance when you're 10 men and it's a final. Just a snatch and grab, honestly. But we have to quickly have a look at Clisby, right? That dirty bastard who has just if you did this on the street to Michael Ross, he's going to jail, right? Over the sideline, lunging slide tackle about knee height, and he cops yellowed. Fuck off! That is just assault. And there's no other word for it.
Because I rewatched the game today, and the commentators were saying how Roos sort of jumped to avoid the challenge, and if you
as you would,
and then the commentators were saying, if he had his foot planted, it's probably a red,
but it's also probably a broken leg.
Yeah, his leg snapped in half. That
was just the red mist descended. Clisby was sick of Russ, disinvesting him. You know what? He pocketed him. You got to say, especially once he come on, didn't let Clisby get any space going forward, and it felt like he had his number.
Definitely frustrated the fuck out of him.
Frustrated him, and it's just a dirty one.
Yeah,
caught this, and he was very lucky to stay on the pitch. But lucky for us, it didn't matter. 10 versus 10 would have been interesting to watch, but it didn't matter for us because we just bossed it in extra time. And, we made a few changes. Liam Rose came on for Martis. Franjic was on. And we worked the ball way up into the corner. Franjic had it, and he's beaten two blokes with this cross. I don't know how with the outnumbered defence.
He's literally standing that one in on the corner flag with two guys on him, and
he's found space. He's picked out Societo
gets a ball
12 yards out, who's just
ball.
turned and had a pop. Perfect kind of volley. You're thinking that's got to go in, right? Watching it live, we're thinking this is the goal, right? Smacks the post. Everyone's like, oh, fuck. We've missed. This is our one opportunity and we've missed it. And then Charles Mamba, who has just ghosted in from out of nowhere. Right place, right time. Just big player energy, man. And he deserved that goal. He nodded it in. It's come off Negro, who tried to clear it, and it's bounced in off the crossbar. Just an insane moment of play. Come out of nothing. And before you know it, he's sprinting over to us, got his shirt off, fingers in his ears to hear the roar, and we're just going ballistic. Couldn't have been to a more deserving player because he was just giant in that match. There's no words, man. Energizer Bunny, whatever they're feeding him, keep feeding him it because it's working well, man. He's growing every week, and the fact that he played against the Mariners, played for the Mariners earlier in his career. I think there was a bit of something, psychologically in him. He's like, I got to prove myself.
Yeah,
I got to
bit of
do
a
this.
chip on his shoulder there.
Yeah, absolutely. And he got it, man. And it was
Yeah,
just nuts. Like the amount of relief and like, if we thought we were in this earlier, after that happened, we're quietly confident. Like there's a long time to go, and it was even more nervy after that goal. Every single kick was being cheered, right? But we're thinking, well, we could do a real smash and grab here. It was intense.
yeah, and just to talk a bit more about how far along Charles has come, like when you look back at his first game, he always obviously had those flashes of like the good first touch and, these good moments. But then now he just looks so confident and like commanding the ball. Like he's always offering for it. He wants the ball any chance he can get, which, sometimes players will sort of like fade out of a game, but he's had a great season, and he's just now like he knows he belongs here, and he's just carving them up.
Yeah, bro, it's hunger. That's the word I would use to describe it, right?
Yeah.
Like he wants that ball. He wants to show what he can do. He's finally cracked it. He's got his professional contract. It's been a long road for him from, his start in like the earliest days of youth football all the way through. He's tried to, he's been on the sort of fringes of professional sides before, but to, be a confirmed starter, and not just that, but like he's dethroned a good consummate professional in Loic Puyo, right? He's taken his spot in the side.
Yeah.
Say what you want about what Puyo wanted to get out of this experience, but he's just taken that off him and shown, what, this is my spot. Massive to see him grow across the season, and we're very happy for him as a friend of the show.
100%.
Following that, though, yeah, it's nervy, and the entire away bay is just cheering every clearance. Every time it lands in Federici's arms, we're just like starting the Federici chant. Every single touch is like waited on with bated breath. It was just like the atmosphere was so tense, and it's the kind of thing that you can only get in finals football. But we stuck to it. There was, like you said, some nervy moments where Mariners looked like they could have been in. Qual, I especially remember in the first half of extra time, he went through, stumbled at the wrong moment to not be able to get his shot away. And then yet again, I think it was straight after Charles's goal, he's gone through, had a shot that's hit the side netting when he could have just squared it, and Clisby could have maybe got on the end of it. So that was a, lucky sort of escape moment for us. But apart from those two decent chances and a couple of just pot shots that went wide, it was surprisingly comfortable despite all the tension that we felt, right? Like, yeah, the clearances are cheered. Every second or 5 seconds that we were able to waste over the sideline was cheered. Everyone was well into it, but I'm surprised that the Mariners didn't throw more at us. Like, put up a centre back in striker or something like that. I think they really suffered from taking Matt Simon off. Maybe his legs were just done, but he's the perfect kind of player for that situation. Throw himself about, try and win a pen. Lewis Miller tried to win a pen late on, and you can tell they were getting desperate. Especially after we scored and Qual missed his chance. Like the crowd for the Central Coast was just so silent. It was crazy to hear that many people be so quiet. Pin drop. You could hear a pin drop. Yeah,
and another sort of interesting thing, like you said, why didn't they throw another centre back up? I saw when they were working the ball out wide and just sort of in the dying embers of the game, just resorting to getting crosses in the box and numbers. They had our defense outnumbered, and they were just also like static. They just weren't moving at all. There's no movement going on. No, diagonal runs or anything from the Mariners.
Yeah.
They were all just hoping to just get on the end of something. They were just throwing up a prayer at the end there, like whether or not they were just tired or not. But they just looked like they weren't in it.
The only time they looked like they were going to do some damage to us, because we were just sitting in our block, shifting from side to side, trying to get Russ, through on a long ball and have him chase it and combat for it and win a throw or a header or something forward, right? So we were comfortable doing that. But what Central Coast didn't do well was switch. There's quite a few times where Holman came into like that midfield position because he was sort of playing two positions, especially when it was out on the right side, right? He had to leave his man basically. So Matt Hatch was the guy who they could have shifted it to a couple of times to get that cross in right from the around the box, right? That close cross. But they couldn't do it. And, you know, credit to us, we shifted, we scrambled, we got our head on things, we cleared it out. We didn't give away any fouls that were unnecessary. And it was just amazing the way the game ended, right? Like Russ had worked his ass off. I know he only was there for half an hour, but it was sprint every time he went somewhere. He was full of energy. He was able to win things, and he got the just rewards at the end because, you know, we scramble it clear. Jake Holman intercepts a pass and directs it in the path of Russ, and he kind of stopped and waited on the ball. He like behind him there were sort of two defenders coming to close him down, but he waits for a midfielder to catch up with him, thinking as if he's going to check back, and then he just zooms into the opposition's half. And then fortunately enough, the one who was closest to closing him down was Kai Rolls, who just got cramp at the worst time, like something straight out of FIFA. Similar thing happened to James Meredith earlier in the season against Western United, where he was chasing and just got cramp. But this was just before he even had a chance to chase, he was down. You could see in the replays, he was crawling on the ground, still trying to do something to get there. But it was just the moment for the young lad, Michael Russ. And we've seen him do it earlier this season against, you know, the champions, plate winners, the premiers, sorry, Melbourne City. So he was able to get it done. He had ice in his veins, and you know, you can tell he's a special kid. Like, there's no one who would have blamed him for missing that, and the game was pretty much a foregone conclusion at that point. But the fact that he's just put the icing on the cake there tells you that he can do it, right? It's still a massive pressure moment. You're running towards the entire away supporters, the entire opposition supporter section. Does it, runs straight to the crowd and just tells them all to shush. Like, he's got a bit of personality, doesn't he?
Yeah, but would you rather be running up against, you know, the Mariners active support fans in their massive numbers, or would you rather run the other way against two sauce bottles? I don't know what's more intimidating, mate.
Yeah, mate. The sauce bottles will figure out if you're a man or a boy, right? But no, best way to finish the game. Yeah, just pure relief from the away supporters. Like, we were just, like I said, cheering every kick. We were in every single tussle, every 50-50, every single decision, every single moment. Even there was a guy sitting near us who, he was with 10 minutes to go saying, we're 10 minutes to Melbourne, and then we're 9 minutes to Melbourne, all the way down to 1. And every time he said it, we're like, don't jinx it. Fuck. Like, it just got more tense. And then to be able to see him score like that, it was the perfect end. Massive, great time. Yeah, I'm speechless at this moment because it just sent chills down your spine, mate, to be able to see a team that we've supported from the start, you know, not struggle all season, but like struggle to really get that momentum going all season, to put in a 120-minute performance like this in a final, massive.
And with a red card for about how long? Like 60 minutes of game
50,
time?
Yeah, 45 minutes. And Mariners can have no complaints, right? They had 10 men. They couldn't do anything against 10 men. You know, they've got no one but themselves to blame. They didn't even create chances. Federici was, you know, he didn't really have to be there, if we're honest. Like, he didn't have to make any saves, really.
Well, there was that one save in extra time he did make with his, like, crotch and thighs. just like suction cup in there, you know?
Yeah, but like, in there. If you're a good keeper, you're staying on that post. You're getting it sorted, right? True. So, yeah, huge. We didn't expect to be able to get through this game. I think a lot of people thought we'd probably bow out against the Mariners, who've been the feel-good story of the season, and we really did play the villain on Saturday night. Like so many people, so many neutrals just wanted the Mariners to win, just to get that that club who's suffered for so long, sort of some pride back. And to be fair to them, they have got their pride back. Like it even showed with the Mariners supporters before the match. They had a very old banner that said "Gone to the pub," right? And that was back in I think 2014 or something when they'd got their second wooden spoon, and their club just wasn't spending money on players. They were just purely developing players and trying to sell them on because of financial issues. So their supporters staged a protest, said we're going to the pub. They all literally walked out across the road to the Leagues Club a few years ago, and now they've turned it around and they've edited the banner, and now it says "Back from the pub." So credit to them. Hopefully they stick around and don't just turn out for finals like they did this time, because they weren't still, despite the good season they had, they weren't getting great numbers to their games all season. But it shows something special about that club, and so credit where credit's due. Central Coast Mariners. That was a great night you guys put on for us, and you just couldn't get the chocolates in the end. Unlucky.
Hopefully they don't go to the pub again too soon, because as we're recording this, it's just been reported, not officially yet anyway, that Stajic is leaving Mariners. So hopefully it doesn't send the Mariners back into a 7-year turmoil where they're without a finals appearance, and they can build on what a season this has been for them.
He's been such a massive guy for them. Like as a coach, he got what was a second last place side last year up to third, right? Completely turned them around. Didn't really change too much in terms of the signings. Urania was massive for them, obviously, and they had Qual who had a breakout season. But apart from that, it's largely the same side, right? He just instilled this faith in them, and that's what got him so far. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Stadge is a big loss for them, more than any other player. Yeah, it'll be crazy. I hope that they keep on and are a decent adversary for us, because I could see us having a decent rivalry with them. Outside of the derbies that we have with Sydney and Western Sydney, I think we've got sort of the same mentality about us. That we're a bit of a fighting club. We're going to be one of those clubs that generates academy players to try and sell them on, just like they do. I don't see us being a big moneyed club. I know we've made a couple decent signings in De Villa. We're rumoured to sign De Silva, and looks like it's been confirmed this week. We're signing Craig Noon from Melbourne City. But we're not going to be a spending club like that forever. This is just a first couple of seasons. Bed yourselves in and see how we go.
Plus, don't they sort of bend the transfer rules a bit for new clubs anyway? Sort of to,
we get an increased salary cap. I think most clubs get like 2.1 or 2.3, and we're on 2.6 million to spend. So we can afford to do it. So yeah, be interesting to see what happens next season. But yeah, shocking for the Mariners to have such a great season, and then it looks like there's going to be a big exodus there. So they'll have to come back from it. But looking forward for us, some good signings. I'm really happy about the De Villa signing, as we talked about, but the confirmation of Craig Noon, that's massive for us. Like he's quite a player.
Yeah. He definitely showed out against us both times. We've seen him play, and it sort of add a bit more depth to us as well, especially, we don't know as of yet what players we're going to be able to keep, whether we can keep most of the squad sort of the same as this season, or whether it's almost like adding a few more key pieces, and, whether or not we're able to keep the likes of a Susaeta and a Benyat.
Well, you think about it, right? So in terms of foreign places, I'm pretty sure you can only have like 4 or 5 visa spots. So it's got to be Puyo and Susaeta, or Puyo and Benyat, or someone like that, some combination like that who's going, because Derbyshire is a visa spot player. We've got Puyo, we've got the 2 Spanish Bulls, and we've got 2 who are coming in. So someone's got to be on the way out, or at least 1 or 2's got to be on the way out. And I'd think that it's most likely to be Silsieta and Banyat, although I've heard that Silsieta is more likely to stay out of the 2, given that, given that his family's well settled in here, his kids are in the schools, and he looks the more hungry of the 2, you have to say as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But Noon, what he'll bring for us is chance creation. He created the most amount of chances this season out of any player in the league. He was the real one that was feeding Jamie McLaren. So it doesn't matter what opposition he's up against, he's going to be dangerous. The real question for him will be, can he sustain the kind of performance that he had this season with that constant chance creation and that always looking dangerous at 33, right? We're signing him now, 33 years old. I think we've got him on a deal for 2 years. Will he be able to keep that creativity and that impact, that intensity that he brings with his physical presence? Because we know at that age, players, their legs can just sometimes go, and they can look after themselves as much as they want, but in terms of the muscle activation and how quick they are, like, they just haven't got it. I think we're seeing that with Banyat this year. He's slowed down so much. I don't know if his heart's in it anymore, but it'll be interesting to see what Noon can do. I'm really excited though, because he can certainly hit a free kick, and he's well known for cutting in off that right wing and smacking it in. He did so against us earlier in the season at Amy Park. So yeah, huge for us. Absolutely huge.
Yeah, and I think they've done a good job recruiting so far, because our 2 main problems are probably our defense and chance creation, and I think the chance creation has definitely been the more worrying issue over the year. So bringing in 2 players in the VR and Noon, like, that is just gonna, if they can just feed Derbyshire, 30-goal season incoming. I'm calling it early.
Hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see. But we've got to look forward now to another final. I think very few people, even Bulls fans, expected us to be where we are. We're going to Melbourne.
No, definitely not.
We're going to Melbourne. It's still not confirmed where the game's going to be. I've heard rumblings that it's going to be played this Sunday, Amy Park still, but with crowds. I imagine we'll find out definitely tomorrow whether it's going to be shifted into Sydney or not. Personally, I wouldn't mind if it was at Bankwest on Saturday night, because there is NRL on the Sunday night at Bankwest. But, that's just me being selfish. It'd suck for Melbourne City to get a home final and not be able to have any people there, because they're a club that, has great stars, but isn't as probably well supported as that should be. And they've had a massive season. Actually, a couple massive seasons. They've been close to the grand final as well. So they're growing, but yeah, for them to miss out on seeing their team in a semi would be a real disappointment. So hopefully they can get it sorted out.
Yeah, and another thing to consider as well, it's not going to be a full capacity venue in Amy Park anyway. So it's sort of like a bittersweet home final for them. Yeah. If it does go through at Amy Park, because, we all know what's happened throughout the season with security at games and COVID restrictions, and whether or not you're allowed to stand up or let alone cheer. So, for their sake, hopefully it goes ahead. For, my greediness as a Bulls fan, hopefully it's in Sydney. But as good as the Bankwest Stadium suggestion is, I don't think they'll allow someone to play on there the night before the footy, even though the NRL's done it to us before.
What do they need a good pitch for?
Yeah, I know. But the NRL's done it to us plenty of times over the years with the A-League, just carving up a field and then...
Do you remember when Wanderers were at Spotless and there was a EDM festival or something like that the night before, and there were all these plastic shards from these cups left on the floor. Shocking.
That's class.
Shocking.
Class.
But nah, turning our attention to the game, I think we're a real good chance here. Like, just quietly, right? Think of who we've got, right? We've got all of our players bar Meredith, right? Puyo comes back into the side.
Supposedly, they were just cramps, but Derbyshire came off sort of holding his hammy.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Susiata came off with it looked like he had a bit of a knock or a cramp. Charles came off with a cramp as well. So hopefully they're not, too serious.
Yeah, just rest them all week, Ante. No training for these boys. But no, like if we're all available, if we've got our main squad, right, I think we're a real good chance because City are missing Curtis Good, Connor Metcalf, and Jamie McLaren, basically the spine of their side, because they're away with Socceroos duty, right? So
Metcalf destroyed us last time as well at home. So thank God he's not playing. Jesus.
Yeah, I think we're good enough to beat a second string Melbourne City, especially if we turn up the way we turned up when they played us at home.
Especially if Newcastle are, I think we're definitely in with a chance.
Yeah. So anything can happen. We just got to stay resolute, and it's good. We, like you alluded to before, we like playing the underdog. I think when there's expectation on us, we get a little bit, gun shy, and we play a little bit too tense. But when we got the freedom of just having that underdog tag and no expectation, I think we actually bring out our best game and we play hungrier, Yeah, so I think we can do this. Not only that, those three players are out, but Melbourne are also got some injury concerns on their books as well. So there's Roston Griffiths and Andrew Naboo, who suffered injuries during the last game of the season against Newcastle, where they lost 2-1. So yeah, I don't know if it's enough time has passed, but Naboo is he's a very injury-prone player. So he can be very dynamic when he's firing, but he breaks down a few times a season, and it might be that from whatever happened in the Newcastle game, that he's twinged something, and that we might not have to face him. Although knowing that it's City, there'll be a couple of quality youngsters in there ready to take his place, like Stefan Kolokovsky or Marco Tilio. They've got quality across the park, so we'll just have to turn up and see what happens. But I think just quietly we could end up having a good tilt towards the grand final, and then if we get there, you can dare to dream of something really amazing in that first season.
Yeah, exactly. We said it for the Mariners game, even that finals football, anything can happen, and it did. So, all bets are on that it can happen again for us. But I wanted to ask you, what do you think wins us this game? Obviously, going into the Mariners game, we tried to play a bit longer. But knowing that, I was about to call them fucking Man City, Melbourne City. The Man City, feeder club. Yeah. Illegal business practice club. Now, what do you think?
What wins it?
What wins it? And obviously Melbourne City playing that possession style of football similar to us. How do you think we approach this one?
It's probably not going to work in our favour physically because the boys would be rooted after going 120 minutes in Gosford, right? But I think we need to play more direct. I think that we slow ourselves down too much and we allow City to get into that structure defensively. They're just going to pinch the ball and then march up the field, and we're having to track back again. City are very good at doing two things: playing possession when they need to, and just putting the foot down when they need to and pressing for that goal. They're relentless. They'll just go box, straight into the box as soon as they can at any opportunity. And they're very sharp with the ball. They've got the players that can just hold on to it, right? So I think we have to play that longer direct ball a bit earlier, but I don't think that we necessarily will. I think it'll be tough, and maybe we just have to play on our physicality. Maybe Ante just says, go out there, play for the draw, and see what happens. Maybe we try and pinch a goal early, send them out in the first 20 minutes, just all guns blazing, and then we try and hold on. I don't know what it is, but at this point, we've already upset a lot of people. We've already achieved higher than we thought we would. So it's no matter what the result is of the weekend, we can hold our heads high because this team has just, they've just gone above and beyond what we ever thought they could do.
Yeah, I think the game will probably come down to, for us, I could only really see us winning this one if we have that, individual moment of brilliance where, maybe Charles beats 2 and then we're away, or just like an absolutely insane strike from Derbyshire or something.
I reckon Susayeta pops up against his old club and comes back to haunt them. Because he's the guy who can get that space in the box. We saw it on the weekend, right? Again.
Yeah.
He was the one who got free space in the box, 12 yards out, had a pop, created the goal after Frenic's, good cross. And he's dangerous. He's a bit, slippery, let's say. You think that the defenders got him and then he's closed down and then boop, he's past you. So if he can get that space, if you get the ball to him in the box, I think he's a good chance of not just hitting the target, but scoring a goal. And despite the fact that Tom Glover is basically Olyroos' keeper, right? He's quite disaster prone. He's dropped free kicks into his net before. He's miskicked and have it fall into his net. So I just wonder if at that stage, being a young player still, is there a mistake in him? And might it be just a calamity for him that leads to our success? Who knows? It's pretty impossible to predict, though. I'm just happy that we're there and the boys will put themselves out there with a good performance. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, 100%. I'm calling it now. We're going to score our first goal from outside the box, and it's going to be Susayeta. I'm feeling it.
Okay, fair enough. Well,
call me insane if you want.
I mean, Milligan scored one late in the season. It was quite a bomb, but yeah,
true.
First curling shot from outside the box. Hey,
yeah,
goal one circle.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Bull Banter. We really appreciate your listenership, and make sure you hit up our socials. We're there on Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our podcasts on YouTube and on Spotify, and anywhere else you can find Bull Banter and good podcasts. I'm sure we'll be there. Any final words, Dan?
If you can, for this game on Sunday, I think if it does go ahead in Amy Park at Macarthur Square, I think they've got the little pop-up display fan section there with a pretty massive TV. I think some of the bullpen lads are planning to just pack that out. So if you want to watch the game with some
atmosphere,
a bit of atmosphere, then head to Macarthur Square. Otherwise, if the game gets moved, get your ass to the game and let's go.
All right, so thank you guys so much for listening. We've got more in the pipeline as well. Keep your ears open for more Bull Banter. And go you Bulls. We'll see you next week, hopefully talking about a grand final appearance in our inaugural season. Take it easy.
Cheers.